Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another episode of ASKgufish. Before we get into it, thank you so much for the support over the last week. I thought I'd give it a little back with 25% off of all merch for my birthday. The support's been unreal, so I thought I'd just extend it another week. Also, ad rates have been really bad lately, so that's really helped out. Plus, I hope you've been enjoying your new super soft shirts. That's one thing. Also, if you weren't aware, I definitely wasn't, you can actually cut your own lumber planks at Home Depot. So check this out. I was trying to figure out how to get the orange off the floor and onto the shelf, but it weighs like 1 billion kilos. So while the shelf is rated to hold a couple 100 pounds, it was actually bending the little metal bars. But with this piece of wood here, everything's secure. It looks super nice too. I'll probably end up varnishing it at some point once I clear more off the shelves and move some more amps over here. Get a couple more planks, do it all at once, maybe have an amp switcher and not just a giant amp stack in my living room. But yeah, if you're on the search for a good looking custom amp housing solution on a budget, there you go. Pro tip: wire shelving and Home Depot lumber. Works super well, just thought I'd share, and now into your questions. Hey Hunter, Schecter brought back the Blackjack series, which comes stock with Lundgren pickups. They also have a single cut with a 24 3/4 inch scale. Would you be down to demo one? Yeah, in general, I've been getting more into Schecter lately. They've been sending me a few guitars. I've been really enjoying them. My favorite so far has been the Banshee Mach 7 Evertune, which is kind of crazy because I'm not normally into 7 strings. But yeah, the quality was insane, especially the fretwork. Evertune, obviously I'm a big fan, but it was those Lundgren pickups, the M series, so good. They were originally made for Fredrik Thordendal of Meshuggah, so you know they gent. They employed some sort of black magic. The chugs blend with synchronized kicks more so than any other pickup I've tried. And the pickups are back in the new and improved, revamped Schecter Blackjack series. The Blackjack series has always been Schecter's high-spec, no visual frills, high value line. The last iteration, or at least the last one I could remember, there may have been one in between, they had no inlays barring a lightning bolt, I think, and Seymour Duncan blackout pickups. This time, the line consists of 5 models: a C1, a Solo 2, an Avenger, a C1 FRS, and a C7. Surprisingly enough, no lefties, which Schecter is generally pretty good at including on launch. Regardless, the line comes spec to the brim, compound 12 to 16 inch radius ebony fingerboards, 24 extra jumbo stainless steel frets, satin necks, and those kick-ass Lundgren pickups. I'm not gonna lie to you, I dig the high value, no visual frills concept, but they look kind of boring. I know, I'm supposed to love every single cut guitar purely because it's a single cut. I'm just not sure what to think of this yet. Like, from a distance, if you didn't know the spec sheet, especially with the open coil pickups, they kind of look like entry-level guitars. Like, when I had the first glance at the announcement, I legit didn't realize that these were $12.99 and above. Out of the ordinary inlays, but visually, there's really nothing interesting going on here. I'm not saying they need to have, like, bright-colored burls or whatever, but like a subtle black burst flame or something, anything but straight gloss black. They're kind of a throwback of the import guitars from maybe like 10 years ago. You know, when the import factories were still learning, there was still a lot of room for improvement. Photo finishes and super saturated colors common to import guitars were straight up cheesy. So going flat black was a common way of producing a more serious looking instrument. Now that the import factories in Korea and Indonesia have upped their game, you rarely, if ever, get high-spec guitars that look like this anymore. I'm sure they're great. I think this is one of those guitar series that you probably need to play in person to get really excited about though. I'm definitely down for a video because the specs are undeniably insane. Like, I don't think there's any single cut out there that has a compound fingerboard radius, stainless steel frets, and Lundgren pickups all in one package. I think they would inspire some seriously kick-ass riffage, but yeah, I just wish they were a little more visually interesting. So yeah, those are my pretty shallow first impressions of the 2020 Blackjack series. What do you think? Excited? Underwhelmed? If you're a lefty, how betrayed do you feel? Any and all thoughts, I'd love to know. Leave them in the comments. Before we get into the next question, I want to give a massive shout out to Logan Orton and the rest of the amazing patrons for making what I do possible and allowing me to pay for Jordan's editing fee. I can tell you really appreciates it too. If you want to directly support what I do as well and get bonus perks like MP3s and tabs to all the demo tracks, link is in the cards. No pressure, to be honest, I just appreciate you guys being here. And now into the next question. Agufish has a degree in political science? Please, we need an Agufish, your political opinion is stupid and so are you video. Please. No. Way too much stupid, far too little time. All I'm gonna say is that it's very important to vote in this election if you live in the US, and for a number of factors, it's good to have a voting plan now. I'll leave a couple of links below that'll help explain what your state is doing given the pandemic, since it is changing a lot. So yeah, make sure you're registered, make sure you've got a plan. I think that's a relatively neutral way of covering that. Let's talk some more guitar. If you had to pick between which of these companies to do a signature, would you pick Epiphone and make it affordable for the fans, or Gibson and make it a boutique collection piece? I feel like the way that the question's worded, you want me to say Epiphone, but this is a fun little thought experiment, right? If you had your own signature model, what brand, how would you spec it? And also, why? But yeah, it's fun to daydream, and I'd love to hear from you guys too, because everyone has their own way of thinking about it. Personally, I'll be real with you, I was never too comfortable with something being called a signature model for myself, right? Because I love it, but most of the time when you see me playing guitar on the channel, it's not my signature Harley Benton. Not because I don't want to play it or choose not to play it, but because of the whole nature of what I do. Don't get me wrong, it's still one of my go-tos when I play guitar off camera or when I'm having trouble writing riffs, but I'm reviewing new guitars all the time. Anyways, what I'm getting at is, rather than signatures, I'd love to work with multiple brands to spec out limited edition models. And they don't even need to have my name on it. Kind of what I do with Harley Benton now, but with more brands. Like with Fender, for a neck-through, sandblasted Telecaster with an Evertune and Fishman-Fluence Moderns. Or like a 7-string Chapman ML2. That'd be dope. But going back to your question and just talking the Gibson family brands, if I had the option, I'd love to spec out multiple models at different levels. Like one at the custom shop level, one at the USA level, one at the Epiphone level. Because I think my tastes plus awareness of each level's strengths, we could spec out some dope-ass modern Les Pauls at every price point. Like, can you imagine what you'd be able to create if you were given access to the Gibson custom shop? It's basically limitless. At a bare minimum, I'd try to get the first Gibson Les Paul custom with factory stainless steel frets into production. Probably a 70 style, because that's my favorite, with the giant paddle headstock and the volute. Obviously though, if I was only given the opportunity to do one, it would have to be with Epiphone. I mean, take a look at where the channel is. I've always tried to highlight and focus more on the guitars that I can actually afford. I think accessibility at a realistic price point is important. Part of the reason that I did a limited edition model with Harley Benton is, well, I mean, they offered me the opportunity, but also I wanted to make sure that this modern spec'd kick-ass single cut was accessible to as many people as possible. And the challenge of getting as much spec and quality into a €499 price point was actually a lot of fun. It was kind of a puzzle. You can't just include everything and still make it affordable. Plus, I grew up playing Epiphones, and Epiphone was my first real guitar. Honestly, and I'm not just trying to suck up to Epiphone, that would almost mean more to me than a Gibson. So it would be the fun of the challenge of making the best guitar for the money, my affinity towards Epiphone, and making sure the guitar is as accessible as possible to as many people that want it. For those three reasons, I'd go with Epiphone. Again, it would probably be some sort of take on a 70s Les Paul custom. I think those guitars are an underrated and underappreciated part of Gibson's history. Used 70s Les Paul customs are generally more affordable than from other eras, but they're still pretty expensive. So I'd love to take a crack at emulating that vibe at a price that more people can afford. And maybe even add a couple of modern features on the way. Basically what I've done with my Modified 72, but in Epiphone form. But yeah, if you had your own chance to do your own signature model, what brand, what price point, what specs, what colors, let me know in the comments. Agufish Epiphone Sig when? Similar vein to the last question, you'd have to ask Epiphone. I'd be completely down, but if I had to guess, probably never. That being said, I am planning starting streaming on Twitch soon. It's been hard balancing my time, but basically the idea is I'll be having guests on, I'll be interviewing them, playing their favorite games, bring you guys in as well, obviously. One of my first guests will be Algin Go, who does product management with Gibson and Epiphone. And Kramer and Steinberger, basically he's just super involved with everything to do with the Gibson family brands. So that will be really fun. Again, I'm not exactly sure when it's happening. Obviously, Epiphone and Gibson have a ton of stuff going on over there. You've seen my upload schedule recently. It's gone from an Askgufish and a demo every week to whenever I can get them out. But anyways, point is, if you want to ask Algin questions yourself, twitch.tv/Agufish. I'm hoping we'll at least talk the prophecy lines, maybe the Hafey signatures. I'll definitely update before we go live. But you can also follow in advance. Link will be in the description. Hope to see you over there. It'll be a lot of fun. You okay with all the fire? Yes, I appreciate the concern. I'm actually on Georgia, on the other coast. We have our own problems. Thankfully, wildfires aren't one of them right now, at least. Who knows, 2020 could throw another curveball. I've been seeing a ton of pictures from my friends out in California. It is legitimately scary what's happening out there right now. Like, even the sky looks on fire. The images are apocalyptic. Climate change is no joke. The memes around that gender reveal party explosion that caused one of the wildfires are pretty top quality, to be fair. But yeah, it should go without saying, but stop blowing up in dry areas to reveal your baby's gender.
I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
Literally no one but you cares. But yeah, to everyone that's out near the fires in California, I hope you're safe. That's scary. Now, what am I listening to this week? This week, I'm listening to Snowblood by Erra on constant repeat. Just holy. Guitar-wise, I have no idea what's going on. The riffs are technical, they're bouncy, they're brutal, and then this beautifully sung chorus just comes out of nowhere. It's modern metalcore at its finest. Highly, highly, highly recommend. And now, of course, it is time to hear from yet another adoring fan. It's the high praise of the week. Look, you millennial goofball, stop your f***ed up blabber because you're... It amazes me how trolls can never get the right you're.
I don't care about your video.
I got you, fam.
Because you're high on drugs and you don't know what you're talking about. Alright, listen. I can't. You got me good with goofball. And that'll do it for this week's episode of Ask a Fish. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're feeling extra crazy, you can hit that bell for notifications. That way YouTube actually lets you know when I upload a new video. Social media, merch, and Discord server links are in the description. As always, thanks so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I'll see you for the next video.